Hello, my name is Marianne, and for this presentation, I'm going to talk about Shopify. And the reason I chose Shopify is because at some point I decided to try to create my own company, and I needed to choose a place and a platform to advertise and to sell my product. So what I had in mind was to produce merchandise related to Brazilian culture, like hats, t-shirts, using specific sentences or funny memes that captures the Brazilian culture. And I didn't know where I could outsource and what kind of business could support me to do that. And that's why I did a lot of research and I found Shopify and I really liked it. So that's one of the reasons I'm choosing this to talk about how outsourcing supports the business growth and using Shopify as my subject. Okay, so in this slide, we're going to talk about the basic. Let's just start with the simple things. So, what is IT outsourcing? In simple words, it's when a company hires like professionals or other companies from different countries instead of doing everything in their own house. So, some of the most common services that companies they outsource are software development, technical support, cloud infrastructure, cybersecurity, and customer service. Now we're going to see more about the benefits and drawbacks of using this kind of companies and this kind of services. Like anything, outsourcing has both benefits and beneficial points and negative points. I think that on the positive side, it lowers the operating costs, then it gives the companies access to global talent. It speeds up the product development and helps them to scale in a quicker way. It also allows them to have 24/7 support. For example, if a company can hire a development team overseas and literally have work happening around the clock, even while their local team is sleeping. So that's definitely a positive. However, there's the negative sides, and communication can be a challenge. Time zones are different. Also, data security concern as like if everything is more spread out. A good example here is the time zone difference. For example, if you outsource the team that is 12 hours ahead, getting a quick answer to a question can take a full day instead of a few minutes. So that's definitely a negative that should be taken into consideration. Let's talk about Shopify and be more specific. For example, I chose to look at Shopify as I explained before my reason. It's a Canadian IT company and it was founded in 2006. So it's actually pretty recent. It's an e-commerce platform that helps business build and run their own online stores. And today it supports millions of merchants around the world. As I said before, the reason I chose this company, it's personal. I think that I did a lot of research and it was the best platform that came across. I didn't pursue it. I didn't go to the final point to actually be able to sell anything at Shopify because I had problems at the stage of my trying to produce the merchandise, and I it was more complicated than I thought. So I decided to pivot towards a different project, but it's still like the platform itself was great and I really liked how they could be helpful for me if I actually were able to finalize my product to be able to sell it. For the Shopify IT strategy, when you look at it, a few things stand out. For example, they run a cloud first platform and they've built AI tools to help merchants run their stores. They focus heavily on secure payment processing and they're constantly pushing out software updates. They also prioritize mobile commerce since so many people shop from their phones now. and they've built their infrastructure to scale so it can handle huge spikes in traffic, like Black Friday, for example. It's they really need to be able to support that. So overall, Shopify's whole approach is about innovation, but also about making the technology simple enough for small business owners with no tech background actually use it. And that's definitely something that I can um, agree with because it was very intuitive. And even though I don't have a lot of IT backgrounds and I'm not the smartest person, I could understand and see what would be the process if I were able to finish my merchandise to sell. Now, here is where outsourcing comes in. Shopify keeps its core software development and its big strategic decisions in house. That's their competitive advantage, so they protect it. But they still rely on outsourcing and outside partners for things like cloud infrastructure, customer support, specialized software development, security services, and a third party app developers who build add ons for the Shopify App Store. This is like I think that it has a clear impact on the business. On the positive side, it gives them faster innovation and also lower the costs. It also access to specialized expertise they might not have in house, but also comes with challenges as we talked about it before. They have to be careful about data protection, manage a lot of vendor relationships, and stay on top of quality control to make sure outsourced work still meets their standards. And in conclusion, this is my last slide for this presentation. Outsourcing is a major part of how many IT companies operate today. It reduces the cost and it adds the flexibility, but it also requires companies to manage risk carefully. Shopify is a good example of this balance. They combine a strong internal innovation with outsourced services to support millions of businesses around the world. On a personal note, learning about Shopify strategy was really interesting to me because I still hope to start my own business one day, and there's a good chance that I'll end up using this platform myself. Um, Also, just on a personal note, my boyfriend works in IT for a private equity firm and he works in cybersecurity. So, during this presentation, we had some good conversations about outsourcing and how it actually works in real life. And he told me that his company uses it a lot. So, it was very interesting to learn more about outsourcing in IT companies and how it works. That's the end of my presentation. And in the next slide, we're going to check the references. Here are the sources that I used for my presentation. The Shopify annual report, Shopify investors relations, an IBM article on global outsourcing, a Gartner on AWS article on cloud outsourcing, and my course textbook. Thank you so much for watching this presentation. I hope you learned more as I did.